temporary earnings are best characterized as what? So we have temporary earnings, and obviously we have permanent earnings. Really, the term is just for understand. There is no strictly accounting terms that says temporary earnings, but temporary earnings are earnings that don't repeat. Okay, earnings that don't repeat in the future. Now, why do we want to differentiate between temporary earnings and, in quote, permanent earnings, or earnings likely to occur? Just like expenses, we want to know the nature of the expenses, whether this expense is operating, and usually operating expenses stay with us because it's part of the business. Non-operating, they have nothing to do with operating the business. For example, interest is financing, income taxes has to do with the government. So for revenues, we also have to kind of tell the users on the income statement whether this revenue is temporary or it's going to repeat. Okay? An earning that don't have corresponding cash flow. Well, maybe here you're saying accrual revenue, because corresponding cash flow means it wasn't in cash. Well, not really. That doesn't mean anything. You could have earnings, it doesn't have a cash flow yet, so that's not temporary earnings. Earnings from non-operating activities. Not necessary earnings from non-operating activities, because non-operating, you could have earnings from non-operating activities like interest revenue. Okay, you could have, if you are not a bank, you could have, or an investment firm, you could have dividend revenue. Those are non-operating revenue. They are earnings, but they're not from your operation. Okay, so that's not the definition of it. Earnings that do not conform to GAAP, well, those are fraud earnings, so that's no. D is by process of elimination is the correct answer, and D says earnings that arise from event that are not likely, notice here, not likely to reoccur in the foreseeable future, not likely to reoccur. So what's the best example I can give you about this? Was it Caterpillar? Was it Caterpillar or John Deere? I'm not sure whether it's Caterpillar or John Deere. In one particular year, 25% of their sales, I'm not sure what's it's a John Deere or Caterpillar, please, but I'm going to illustrate the point. 25% of the revenue was a contract with the Brazilian government. It's a one-time deal. So 25% of the revenue was a contract with the Brazilian government. So they have to tell you that this revenue, that's substantial revenue, that's a substantial amount of revenue, it's a temporary earning. It means it's not going to reoccur in the foreseeable future. Most likely it's operating revenue. They were selling them, their product, their machinery, their equipment, that's what they sell. But it's a one-time deal. It's not going to reoccur again. So from a user's perspective, you want to tell the user, look, just be careful. This is temporary earnings. That's why our revenue is so large. Don't count on that next year. This is what we mean by temporary earnings. Okay? Versus we also have non-operating activities, earnings from non-operating, which is interest and revenue. They do occur again year after year. You might have interest or dividend, but also under non-operating activities, you could have gains and losses. So you might sell an asset you don't use. Those are non-operating. Okay, they might occur again, but they're non-operating. So temporary earnings has to do with a specific event, like a special contract with the government.
Want to see more CPA exam multiple choice questions solved step by step? At farhatlectures.com, you will get hundreds of video solved MCQs step by step, including previously released AI CPA questions, previously released AI CPA simulation, in-depth lectures and resources to prepare for the CPA exam, AI tools that's going to help you study smarter, not harder, CPA exam podcast lessons where you can learn on the go. And also you will get the personal guidance of support of Farhat and his team. If you are serious about passing the CPA exam, this is your next step. Visit the website farhatlectures.com, start your free trial, and I hope to see you on the website.